Welcome and thank you for joining me. The timestamps are in the description box. Both stories have updates. Story number 1. Opie writes, I'm still so shook with everything, so sorry for my rambling. My husband, Jake, and I have been married for 3 years, and from the beginning he was very close with his best friend's sister, Cindy, female 18. Well, my husband would often talk about her and tell how he had seen her grow up throughout the years. Cindy is always very bubbly and seems very fond of Jake as well. I remember when we were dating, she would ask to come along on our dates a lot. I never really said anything, as I like spending time with her as well. She was like a little sister to me. When we announced our engagement, she asked to my husband to better not forget her after being a married man and to still hang out with her. Well, we got married and I even made her my bridesmaid. Soon we moved to a different state and kind of lost contact. Now Jake's best friend came to stay with us for some time and Cindy came along as well. Now the moment she saw us, the first thing she said was how hot my husband has gotten, and she was glad he didn't look like those boring married men. Then throughout their stay, Cindy would just ignore my presence and will be way too close with Jake. I told Jake that it was looking a bit inappropriate and to ask Cindy to tone it down, but he said that Cindy is just a bit childish and is that way with everybody. Well, at the last day, we decided to host a dinner party for everybody. During the party, I was with Jake when Cindy came and told me, "Oh, I need to steal your husband for a while." And before I could say something, she grabbed Jake's hand and took him for playing games. I ignored it since it was their last day. But then, throughout the dinner, she was getting way too close with Jake and would just drag him away whenever I would be around while giggling at me. When everybody sat for dinner, I sat beside Jake and Cindy came last. She then said, "Oh, there is no seat," and then just went and sat on my husband's lap. Everybody was surprised, and Jake said, laughing, "Cindy, stop acting like a kid. You're not a kid anymore." Cindy started laughing, saying it was a joke, and got up and sat on the other seat while giggling at me. Yeah, I was so angry with the disrespect and with the fact that Jake was so cool with it. But I didn't want to say anything bad, so I excused myself, took my car and went out. About 1 hour later, Jake called me, asking where I was. I told him I'm going to my friend's house, and I will come after Cindy has left. I know what I did was terrible, but I was so angry at the time that if I had stayed there any longer, I would have probably started fighting or crying. I came the next day, and Cindy and her family had left. Jake was very pissed and said I took things too far. I started crying and told him how everything made me feel. He said I was horrible to think such things about Cindy and that she was like his sister. I told him that I was not doubting his intentions, but I was hurt by how disrespectful Cindy's behavior was, and he was enabling her by not saying anything. He started saying that I sound ridiculous and couldn't even take a joke, referring to the sitting on the lap incident. I said regardless, I don't want her in my house again. To top it off, Cindy sent a message saying that she was sorry about making me so insecure in myself and that she would make sure to make me feel better, but I should not have left as it was pretty childish and kind of spoiled the mood. It felt so backhanded. I didn't reply anything to her. I just told my husband he needs to maintain a distance with Cindy. He asked if I was giving him an ultimatum. I said if he will go as far as disregard and disrespect my feelings for Cindy. This really rubbed my husband the wrong way, and he said since I have such disgusting thoughts in my mind and is giving him an ultimatum anyways, then he might as well leave because he cannot live with such an insecure person who has such disgusting thoughts about him. He packed a bag and left to his mother's place. I have tried apologizing numerous times, telling how sorry I am for everything, but he is ignoring my texts and calls. Later, Cindy's brother texted me and called me a bunch of names to think like that about his sister, saying Jake should just leave me and a disgusting person like me deserves to be alone. I could not stop crying after that. I don't know how to fix this. Is there a way to even come back? Was I so wrong to deserve this? I don't know anymore. Edit. People who are asking our ages, we are 25, just months apart. Update 1. Thank you all for responding, and people who gave me good advice in personal messages. I couldn't read all the comments, but now I know my feelings are valid and boundaries were crossed by Cindy. Now, during the dinner, there was Cindy, her brother Sean and his girlfriend, and their cousin Derek, also a good friend of my husband, with his boyfriend. So I called Derek and asked about the situation and what happened after I left. He was sympathetic and said that after I left, at first they thought I would come back after some time. However, things were really awkward. But when I didn't come, Sean's girlfriend told Cindy that she was so disrespectful for doing that. Derek and his boyfriend also said the same thing. To this, Cindy started crying, saying they didn't have to corner her and attack her over a silly joke, that she didn't know it would get so out of hand. She then left the room while crying. Jake didn't know what to say, and everybody left early the next day. Derek also told that Cindy has always had issues with boundaries. And when he introduced his boyfriend to everybody, Cindy would get too close and would joke that she was just checking if he was really gay. They were really uncomfortable with it as well, so Derek confronted her, to which Cindy rolled her eyes and said they can't take a joke and eventually stopped. This all sounds so bizarre. I don't know what's going on with Cindy. Sean's girlfriend also texted me saying she was sorry for what happened. I told her how Sean's message was inappropriate, but she had no idea about the text. So I sent her a screenshot and asked her to tell Sean to not harass me again. She was very apologetic and said she would talk to him. Now my mother-in-law called and asked what was going on, as Jake didn't tell her and only said we had an argument. I was a bit hesitant to tell, but eventually told everything. She was furious at my husband. She said they will be coming to have a talk. So yeah, I'm just waiting for them to arrive and really nervous. I don't know if what I did was right or wrong, but we will see. As for people saying my husband is some pedo or they are having an affair, I know this is furthest from the truth. I never questioned his intentions, but what hurt me was the lack of respect from Cindy towards me. Update 2. So my mother-in-law came with my husband and well, the talk happened. There were a lot of things, but I will try to summarize. Basically, Jake apologized to me first and tried to explain his point of view. He said that he was angry because A, I left without saying anything for the whole night, when he was literally trying to just diffuse the situation and tried to laugh it off because it was so awkward. He didn't know what else to do. But instead of communicating, I just left him in that weird situation. He was meeting his friends after such a long time and just wanted the dinner to be peaceful, and Cindy was going back anyways, and we would most likely never meet her again. B. He acknowledged Cindy was indeed overstepping boundaries, but he didn't know how to bring it up since he has literally seen her growing up and she is like a little sister to him. Also, she acts like that with everyone. He thought that it was just for a few days and wanted no drama during their stay, so he would just brush it off. He did acknowledge he was wrong about not saying anything. C. He was already really worried and sad because how I just left with no explanations. Even after I came, not once I asked how he felt. He was also very overwhelmed with everything and felt like I was accusing him for not doing anything when he literally pushed her off as politely as possible when she tried to sit. He felt I was attacking his character and even gave the ultimatum, which made him so sad, as he felt if I thought that less of him. It wasn't about Cindy, but about how easy it was for me to question his sincerity. He said after that dinner, he was going to go extremely low contact with her anyways. D. He apologized for not speaking up about the disrespect Cindy was showing towards me, and for also leaving like that. Then after Jake said everything, mother-in-law explained Jake about the situation from her perspective. She scolded him a lot as well. In short, she told him that as a husband it was his responsibility to make me feel like I am his priority, and that he disappointed me the moment I had to come to him to ask for establishing boundaries. As a husband, it was his duty that I never would have to come to him about this in the first place. She also asked him how he would have felt had it been a guy on my lap, and he had no answer to it. She told him how what I did was an eruption of suppressed feelings, and as a husband it was his duty to go after me and never let me leave in the first place. There were a lot of things said by her, and Jake seemed to realize and sincerely apologized for his actions. She told him if he ever pulled such a stunt ever again, then to not expect her to take him in. Later, she took me for a walk. It was just the two of us, and there she explained some things to me as well. She said that she is sorry for everything, but told that even at her house, Jake was distraught. He didn't tell her because he most likely knew he was wrong too, but was overwhelmed about everything as well. She said she was in no way excusing her son's behavior, but would hope that I would forgive him. She also said that in no circumstances I need to leave my house, as it was my house and my family. She said I shouldn't be afraid in speaking my mind if anything makes me uncomfortable, and to talk to her if Jake does something stupid again, and she will set him straight. She hoped we work it out, since she has seen our love for each other, and it would be sad to see us split up due to some disrespectful brat, her words. She said she cannot have a say in our issues, but suggested that we should get counseling to understand each other better. She even bought ice cream for me. I know it's a bit childish, but she said sweet things work as a charm when people are upset, and well, she was right. Well, it was awkward at night. Jake came to our room, and we didn't know what to say. After a while we talked, and both apologized to each other. However, I did tell that I was angry at him, to tell everything to Sean, and was deeply hurt by the text he sent me. He said he didn't know what I was talking about, and I showed him the text. He said he didn't tell Sean about our fight, and only told him he was at Mom's place. He called Sean, and well, it turns out Sean told Cindy, and told her how she went too far at the party. Then Cindy made a huge sob story about how I was passive-aggressive with her the whole time, how I would always try to question her character and act insecure and jealous. She even went on to say that I was always like that with her, even when she was a kid, and that I never liked her and always tried to manipulate people into thinking I was an angel while she was an S. Well, that made him angry to think how I have been treating Cindy, and he sent those texts. Jake and I were baffled by such accusations, and he tried to explain to Sean how it wasn't true, but then Jake just let it be, and decided to go no contact with Cindy, and extremely low contact with Sean. Jake apologized again, and we just cuddled and slept. Well, Cindy is out of our lives for good now, and we have decided to go to counseling for better communication in the future. Let's see how everything goes in the future. But yeah, we are not getting divorced. I know a lot of you people wanted me to show Jake this post, but he was so sad and got scolded a lot already. So I decided to not show him for now. Maybe in the future. Sorry for all this rambling. Have a good day, people. Edit. I read people saying we should be in no contact with Sean too, and I felt it would be best to let that friendship go as well. So I talked to my husband about it, and he agreed. So he sent a text to Sean, stating that we could not be friends with him, and then blocked him as well. To clarify, I have somewhat forgiven Jake for his actions, but I told him he needs to rebuild the trust I had, so I know I can rely on him in situations like that. He agreed, and we will get couples counseling as well. Thank you all for your advice. You all made me feel less lonely in all of this. Well, OP, people like Cindy always think they can carry on any way they want because, well, it's them. And because nobody stands up to them, they just continue in that way. So hopefully Cindy has learned a lesson and, well. But what I really want to know is, where did you get your incredible mother-in-law? I've read so many stories of people struggling with really terrible mother-in-laws, and here you've got this wonderful one. So count your blessings, OP, and I'm sure everything is going to be fine between you and Jake. On to story number 2. OP writes, I, 44 female, live in a small town, population about 2,000. I've been dating my boyfriend, 52 male, for 8 years. We were at a holiday party in December with probably 200 guests. Someone asked when we were planning to get married. Boyfriend said never. People continued to press the subject. So I said that neither of us wanted to get married currently, but if it changed, we'd be sure to let them know. So boyfriend said, if you ever change your mind about marriage, don't bother talking to me about it. Just move on and find a man who wants to marry you. Everyone was staring. I cried. We went home. He has brought it up a couple of times since then, but it's not really something I see a point in discussing. He's made it clear since day one that he doesn't want to get married. I don't want to either. I wouldn't have said what he did in public, but it's the truth. The way he said it embarrassed me and hurt my feelings, that he was so flippant about breaking up and going our separate ways after 8 years of being in love. But again, it's nothing I didn't know from private conversations. Every Tuesday, we have dinner with friends at this Mexican restaurant. So last night, at dinner, a guy that I know socially from living in the same small town walked up and said that he knew I was exclusively dating boyfriend, but he just wanted to say that I should call him if I ever decided that I wanted a serious relationship. Then he looked at boyfriend and said, "Nothing personal, man. I know we go way back. They are about the same age and hung out in high school and in their early 20s. But if she ever decides she wants more than casual dating, it would be over between you two anyway." After we got home, boyfriend was upset with me for not making it clear that we have more than a casual relationship. I told him that I wasn't the one who made our relationship status unclear, and if he felt something was unclear or misunderstood, he could have set things straight himself. Okay, let's get some comments with replies from OP. Comment: "And that's fine. Have the relationship that makes you happy. But does this guy, who humiliates you in public and then whines that you won't defend him, does he make you happy? You deserve better. He's just mad that other people know that." OP replies: "He's usually not a bad companion. He's faithful, attentive. We typically have a peaceful life together. He has always been very vocal about us never getting married, but that's probably the meanest he's ever been about it. Day-to-day things are pretty nice in the bigger picture. It is what it is between us. Early on, he was very insistent on keeping our finances separate and making sure that he protected his children's future inheritance. He didn't want to be expected to contribute to supporting my children. He wasn't mean or anything, and it helped by picking them up from the gym or wherever he could. But his were his and mine were mine as far as money went. So it's definitely a case of keep that same energy now." Comment: "The balls on that guy are genuinely impressive. I mean, are you interested? I kind of think you should be, LOL. Your boyfriend is temporary. This seems as good a jumping off point as any." OP replies: "He's good-looking, successful, smart, funny, never married, no kids. Was a bit of a womanizer when he was younger, but he's made it pretty clear in the past few years that he's looking to settle down and get married. Checks a lot of boxes if a girl was looking to get married. I'm just not." Here's OP's update a month later. "After posting, I did a lot of reflection on our relationship. One day, I just packed what I had in his house and brought it all to my house while he was at work. When he came home, I told him that I had moved my things out and wasn't going to be around anymore. I gave him his house key. Boyfriend feels blindsided by my moving out. He doesn't understand how we went from happy and peaceful to moving out and living an hour plus away when essentially nothing changed. I still have feelings for him, but it wasn't nearly as painful as I expected it to be. I have too many hard feelings towards him for the way he treated me and my kids, especially in the beginning of our relationship, to try to salvage anything between us. And I most definitely have too much resentment towards his youngest son, 24 male, to ever consider working on things and trying to be anything that resembles a family with either of them. 8 years, and I packed everything I had there in 2 hours, like I was never there. During the first couple of years, I did tell him how he made me feel, but his answer was always, 'This is the deal. Take it or leave it.' It took 8 years, but I decided to leave it. I suppose at some point I emotionally checked out of the relationship and just sort of let things be. Many of the issues have just sorted themselves out with time, but the underlying hurt is still raw. My house really doesn't feel like home to me anymore. I've been staying with my children, who are away from home attending college. I've completely moved out of my house, and I officially put it on the market last Friday. For now, I'll just commute to work until I figure out what I want to do going forward." Added comments: "First, let me say that I'm absolutely amazed by all the kind words and well wishes. I can't believe how kind and supportive you guys have been." I'll address a couple of the common comments and questions. First, I guess the most popular is about the guy from the Mexican restaurant. I've spoken to him since, but it's not the fairy tale ending you guys are dreaming of. I'm definitely not in a place where I'm ready to date, and I can't remember his exact words, but the gist was he'd be happy to take me out sometime. But he was just being a dick to ex-boyfriend on purpose, because of what he said at the party, and other things he'd seen boyfriend do over the years. Very anticlimactic, I'm afraid. Although he does frequently work around where I'm living, so who knows what the future holds. Second, financial concerns. If you guys want to take back all your "I'm proud of you" comments, I understand. I really have no excuse for staying. I'm well educated. I earn a good living, well above 6 figures. I wasn't always, but I literally spent 20 years going back to school time and time again. For the past few years, I've made significantly more money than ex-boyfriend. I really have no excuse for why I stayed so long. OP, you don't need any excuses. When you were finally ready to leave this relationship, you did. And as you said, emotionally, you checked out a long time ago, and that is why it's easier for you to get on with things than you thought it would be. Good luck, OP, as you start this new chapter in your life. Well, that's it for this edition. Thank you for being with me. I hope you've been keeping well and that you're taking good care of yourself, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.